Hi, it's Kirby Summers. Today is October 1st. We're in October, guys. It is my time, 7:30 in the morning. And I'm gonna sort of give you a preview into Chasing Chandler, which is a book I wrote 2 years ago. I'm working on a second edition. I decided to update it based on the fact that a photo that Rachel Chandler had posted to her Instagram before she completely went silent and deleted everything, was one from 2001. At the time, she was 14 years old with Sean Puffy Combs. He at the time was 32. I think many of you are familiar with the photo. In fact, I think I'll use it as the screen image for this short discussion on my book, Chasing Chandler. Many people sort of went down a really odd rabbit hole when photos that were taken from Rachel Chandler's Instagram back in the day were being talked about. They were being talked about without anyone having any knowledge as to really who Rachel Chandler was. We now know that she's the heiress to the Chandler fortune. The Chandler fortune is most notably tied into the Los Angeles Times. And I think a lot of people, other than those who purchased my book when it initially came out, and people who have been following me on my various platforms, may not have understood that the Chandlers were uh parts they well, how do I phrase this? They wanted to create a blonde society. So well before Hitler even had anything in his mind about exterminating the population, the Chandler family was involved in a very big eugenics movement, using all kinds of illegal tactics, uh, sterilizing people without their consent, basically doing what later Jeffrey Epstein would be interested in, which is eugenics. So that I go into many of Rachel's ancestors, and which includes some of the more heinous crimes during the past, more than 100 years. It's funny because I found a relative of hers from the mid 1700s. And her, if you've seen a photograph of her, she has rather bland facial features. Well, she looks a lot like this person. Now, the family is a prominent family. They go back into the moneyed elite. Many people were wondering, oh, well, Rachel Chandler, she's mixing with the elite. No, she is the elite. Now, while I answer many questions and go into a lot of the major scandals that have been sort of covered up throughout history, and we know that, things can be covered up. We saw this during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, which was a sham trial. I explain other sham trials historically and how they connect to the Chandler family. What I'll leave you with in this short introduction, and by the way, I will be posting an excerpt onto my Substack. I might even send it out free to free subscribers as well. I will leave the URL to my Substack in the description box below. I think it's important in light of the fact that we're looking at the music industry in a different way, to re-examine why Rachel Chandler, for example, at the age of 14, was seen photographed in kind of in a very close, intimate embrace with Sean Puffy Combs, who again was 32 years old at the time. So why exactly is someone who Rachel Chandler's ancestors would have murdered, right? Because you could not be a person of color around the Chandlers. They wanted blonde, blue-eyed children forever, for the world. Why someone like Sean Combs sort of is found within the circle of the Chandlers, especially Rachel Chandler, who many people started calling child handler, if you remember those days. The members of the higher classes have always engaged in nefarious methods. I believe I was the first person to bring up in our lifetime, in our, during this period, the role of Gloria Steinem, who was an asset for the CIA agency, and how she subverted the women's liberation movement. And so when you insert someone who will redirect the focus of a movement, it's no longer natural. It is now being directed and controlled by powerful forces that one cannot see. So then this is very sort of the same method used, let's say, by allowing someone like Sean Combs and the rap industry in particular, with its very violent lyrics that demean women. It's a continuation of the breakup of the nuclear family, the destruction of the family unit is imperative here, because if you don't have a father and then you remove the mother because you've introduced drugs into poor neighborhoods, and then these children, like let's say, for example, Sean Combs, have substandard education, which is intentionally introduced by the powers that be, let's say, into the inner cities, that aside from becoming DRUG pushers, or maybe in addition to that, they go into, let's say, the music industry. Now, the music industry has historically been tied into the intelligence agencies. Think about it. Musicians move around from city to city, place to place, country to country. It's a perfect cover for that. But to loop around back to, let's say, the pairing of a 14-year-old Rachel Chandler with a 32-year-old Sean Combs, what this brings to mind for me, I've been researching all of this stuff for a long time, and I've written about 15 books, in addition to the almost 250 articles, deep dives on my Substack. And by the way, this month is my 2-year anniversary on Substack. I'm into my 6th year of my newsletter, which I moved over to Substack 2 years ago this month. It seems to me that Rachel's connection to Sean Combs is one of, even though she's 14, is one of being a watcher, in addition to other nefarious activities that you will read about either in my excerpt or in my book, which is only available via my website, kirbysummers.com. I'm not going to put it on Amazon. I refuse to put it on Amazon. But it's available on my website. Again, I'll leave that URL below. I think this is the perfect time, because the world is finally waking up to the ongoing allegations that so many women, minors, including boys, have been trying to bring to the public's attention for decades and decades, only to not be believed or to be pushed aside. This is the perfect opportunity to then go back into history, look at the Chandler family, a very, very important family for so many reasons, because it does connect to other rings, let's just say. And the music industry, the Chandlers created Hollywood, where clearly the movie industry was born, and where eventually the music industry kind of moved and set themselves up there. So that she's an overseer. She is, at the age of 14, you know, she's a smart girl, very well educated, from a long lineage of very powerful people. I'm pausing because I don't want to. I don't want to do a spoiler here. In fact, I'm not going to do a spoiler here. But her role is not one of being real friends with someone like Combs. Her role is rather more covert and nefarious, and we will see this trend as other names are introduced in the Combs case. The Combs case is not that different from the Epstein case, which is not that different from the Franklin child abuse case. These are intelligence connected with MOB connections as well. It's just how much will really come out. A lot is dribbling out as I speak. However, the history of this and the names that go, let's say, above Clive Davis, a name like the Chandler family, for example, and other families which I name in my book, Chasing Chandler, those people are protected. They have immunity from all crimes that they have committed in the past, in the present, and in the future. So I bring to this a different aspect. I bring you the higher ups. Anyway, if you haven't become a member of my newsletter, subscribe. As I just said, I'm going to be uploading a preview of my book, Chasing Chandler. I believe I'm going to do that as a freebie for everyone to read. It's important for us to take the time to learn as much as we can about what created the monster we have come to see in Sean Combs. Just before I sign off, I just want to state that in 2001, when that photo was taken of Combs with a 14-year-old Rachel Chandler, that's the same time that he was accused of another woman by the name of Thalia Graves, who claims that Combs drugged and arred her along with his bodyguard. This lawsuit just happened within the last couple of days. So at the same time that Combs is partying again with a 14-year-old, this is happening. He is R-word and drugging other victims. Now think about it. If this happened in 2001, it's taken 23 years for this woman to finally feel comfortable sharing her horrific experience. And we're going to be hearing more about that, I suppose, in days to come. All right, guys, do give this a like. Talk soon. Bye.